Hello?
Let's see if I can unmute. Hey, hey. Okay.
We are live finally.
Are we sure?
Well, I'm showing everything on Facebook. So, looks like we're good to go.
Awesome. That works.
Yeah, I've already got everything shared out to the different groups. Now I just need to
Jan says hi. She sees us. Okay.
yeah, let's see.
It worked. That's all that matters.
Yeah, but holy cow, it's so frustrating when we go through what we just went through. For a minute there, I thought I was going to have to scrap this studio and start up a whole new one.
Ew.
And it wouldn't be the first time I've had to do that. Okay.
I guess if we're not paying, 150 a month, that's what happens.
I've got the highest package.
I know, but it's not near as high as the other one.
Oh, and it better never be either.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we are going to have some problems.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay.
What's up, guys?
I swear. Oh, whoa. First of all, you're not muted and you talked. Second of all, do you purposely wait until you see, oh, they're live and
No,
then come on no matter how late we come on? Is
no,
this the tactic?
no. This is gonna sound kind of hard to believe, especially today. I had woken up
For
around
me,
like
it's
six.
always hard to believe.
I had woken up. I took a nap when I got home from work because it was a rough day. But when I woke up, it was like 6:50 in the. I'm like, what? So I had to talk to my mom real quick when I found out she was home, and then I had to take my medicine. It's like I was going through all this. Yeah, yeah, I knew I was going to be late.
Okay. Here's an idea. When you know you're going to be late, heads up in the chat.
Yes, yes, I know. I've been meaning to do that.
Uh-huh. How about actually get it done?
Yes, and believe me, when I was resting earlier today, I did have an alarm clock. Actually, two alarm clocks, and it still wasn't working. So I was just really out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think I just lost track of time.
I'd like to do that a lot.
Jeez. Actually, it's very frustrating for me when that happens. So when it happens, it's like I'm totally frustrated.
I know. I would enjoy that.
We just went through.
Yeah.
I almost had to create a whole new studio.
What happened?
We don't know. It transferred to me. I saw the destinations. Then we got out. We come back, and I didn't see destination. I don't know.
Jeez.
What happened was that I had everything all set, ready to go. Then they disappeared.
Oh God, oh man, that's always the worst.
So
Yeah.
I went in, re-added them, and then instead of having 9 destinations, we had 18,
Oh my God, 18.
and I couldn't get rid of them.
Jeez.
Why she wasn't seeing it on her end,
That is so weird.
so so we both left the studio. I had to go in through the studio list and get rid of them that way, and then
Yeah.
into the studio. And now it seems like everything's working okay.
Okay. Good. Good. Man, that's rough.
Yeah. Well, we're on, so whatever.
Yeah, it is what it is.
And are you aware of the topic tonight, Nick?
Yeah, I did see that several days ago. Well,
Okay.
not several
Okay.
days ago. Yeah,
We
weird places and
have
whatnot.
since
Yeah.
amended that.
Huh?
We have since amended that.
Well, and other than that, I don't know what you guys are talking about now.
No, we just
America's weirdest places is now the world's weirdest places.
World's weirdest places. All right, sounds good. What's up,
Because
Brad?
he's been doing some homework.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, first, before we go into the topic, I need to ask both of you, how much snow did you get over the past week?
Oh, jeez.
We actually only just got snow the night before last during the night, and it lasted into the day. And as far as sticking and not melting as it hit, maybe 2 inches.
Yeah, for us, it's probably about the same amount as you got, Jeremy. I mean, we got over 6 to 7 inches, maybe 8. It actually snowed yesterday too, which we weren't expecting. And now they're also saying this upcoming Sunday, there's a 70% chance for snow as well.
So are we talking measurements in guys' measurements or women's? We've been lied to all our lives, so we learned to actually measure.
I am so not going there.
Yeah, I am not either.
Jan, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn.
Yeah, we're on YouTube, Jan.
We are on 3 Facebook pages, 4 YouTube pages, 1 LinkedIn, and 1 Twitch.
YouTube.
Braxton, I just want to point out for him quickly. I hope you guys too had a great Thanksgiving yourselves. I did myself, and also Braxton, because it says that he just mentioned his birthday. Happy belated birthday, Braxton.
Mine was fun, long. Oh, so your birthday was on Thanksgiving?
Appears to be, but either way, happy belated birthday.
At least that guarantees you get food cooked for you on your birthday.
Yeah. He said down in Louisiana, no snow down here, just some frost and rain.
Oh, you got frost. Hi, Nate.
Hey, Nate.
So, yeah, we also got 7 inches of snow. We got 4 inches on Saturday and then an additional 3 on Monday.
That's pretty much about the same amount. So, once again, with this upcoming Sunday, with the 70% chance of snow we're going to be getting over here, most likely it's probably going to be affecting your area, Jeremy. So you're probably going to get the same results.
Let's see here. Sunday.
Colorado is supposed to be the one that gets snow, and they're expecting warmer than normal temperatures during Christmas, and I'm okay with that. I saw my first snow. I was excited to see it. I'm over it now. We're good. I saw it.
Adrian Braxton responded back to your question about his birthday.
Right now, I'm only showing 40% down here.
Okay. Yeah, they said so. Well, I mean, then again, we're also closer to the lakeside, so sometimes that kind of plays a role.
Yeah.
And like what Jan just said, Wisconsin got it. Yeah, Wisconsin
You
also
know what?
got it
Wisconsin always gets slammed this time. No. That place is no.
Oh, Joe can basically speak out about that, definitely.
Okay, now I checked my other weather app. It's saying that we are expecting snow on Saturday.
Saturday. Okay, I didn't know about
Y'all
Saturday.
keep that shit. How about that?
Well, you know what's funny? Speaking of snow
I rely on 2 different things. I rely on the Weather Channel app and the My Radar app.
Those are the 2 apps. Those are the same apps I also rely on too. So that makes 2 of us. But it's ironic is that speaking of snow in Wisconsin, originally this Sunday, I was supposed to go out to the chance like Adrian wants to go back.
No, Adrian doesn't. No.
Originally this Sunday, I was supposed to go out to Wisconsin because think I've mentioned to you guys about her before. Jenny Davis wanted to have it was a cool idea at the time. She liked the idea of wanting to have a paranormal. What's up, Kate? She liked the idea of wanting to have a paranormal Christmas party. She wanted us to meet all at Broadhead Manor in Broadhead, Wisconsin. Which, fortunately, Broadhead's only about 2 hours away from me. It's not that far at all. But unfortunately, it sounds like to me, and she was only inviting just a certain amount of investigators. I mean, pretty much throughout eastern Minnesota, parts of Wisconsin, northern Illinois, and corner part of northeastern Iowa. But I never heard of anything about what was going on with that. It sounds like to me that probably the party's most likely canceled, which, yes, it's disappointing, but at the same time, especially knowing what the snow forecast is going to be this weekend, perhaps that's kind of a blessing in disguise, because that way we don't need to make the risky trip to get up to Wisconsin, and furthermore, we no longer have to worry about missing out.
How about if you live in Wisconsin? Here's an idea. Chicago too, for that matter.
Yeah.
How about make your events in the summer?
I mean, that's understandable, but we're talking about the holiday Christmas season, though.
No, this is like common sense. Let's make events when it's not snowing. Just a thought.
Yeah, well, I basically had to ground myself this week because I'm still doing my twice a week trips. So Monday I didn't go anywhere, and I was told it was nasty down there, down south.
Yeah, I was seeing even here, and the reality of it is we get people from California that move here because this state is as close as California as you're going to get as far as politics, and unfortunately, but
New York.
maybe, but
it's the other side of the country, though.
It's like, well, yeah, but
true.
If California enacts a law, we do immediately after. That is just the way it is. But we have a lot of California drivers here. So, and each time it's their first year, and, we have to remember how to drive in the snow. We had cars turned over. And we only had maybe 3 inches of snow, maybe at most in the, most western part.
Well, there, you guys are not really very well equipped for it.
No. I mean, it's not like they plow our roads. They don't.
Oh, jeez.
Here's what I did find out, which is not that way. Jan, correct me if I'm wrong. It might be that way where you are.
Nick, did you see that?
Yeah, I just saw that. What the hell was that?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but is it a law in New Mexico that you have to shovel your walks as soon as it snows?
I never heard of that.
Me either. That's my point. I just want to know if maybe I missed something and was totally, because I live in the country.
I think that is more on a city to city basis. Because here you can get fined if you don't shovel your.
Here too, and that's why I'm asking, because this is some bullshit.
Yeah, I think it's more of a city. I don't want to say law.
Well, it's a law if you're getting fined.
Kind of like almost like a requirement.
It's an ordinance. Yes, I understand. So.
Ordinance, yeah. But
okay,
more by the city than the state.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Here's my thing. The same with HOAs. I bought this fucking property. Okay? I bought it. My money. Okay? I bought this fucking property. That includes the sidewalk that goes with it. Now, the sidewalk out there is the city's property. And they will tell you that very quickly. That is their property. You cannot block it. So the city can get their fucking asses out here and they can do their own damn walk because hell no.
That was somebody. Somebody here was making that argument. Like, yeah, you go ahead and tell them now. See how far you get.
I have no
So,
problem telling them that because right now this town, the whole council is up in arms over some shit. So yeah, I have no problem with that. But I'm used to living in the country. HOAs, I will not live in an HOA. You know what? My money bought this house. I'll be goddamn if you're going to tell me if what color I'm going to paint my house, what shed I'm going to have out there, if I can have a doghouse out there, if I can have a grill on my porch. Kiss my ass.
you
No.
know,
I'm the same way. If it's my property, you're not going to tell me what I'm going to do with it.
Yeah,
exactly.
and HOAs can. That is so bad. Somebody told me today that no, yesterday that their HOA told them that they are no longer allowed to have grills on their property. Are you
Oh, you know
kidding?
what? That is something that's happened over here. In fact, Don could even speak out about that. Like he lives in a
No.
he lives in an apartment building, and you know, like how like when you pass by apartment, like
And I can understand that.
yeah, like you know, like how people sometimes like who live in apartments, they keep their grills outside on their balconies.
Apartments, I get. Apartments, I understand because that's a fire hazard. I get
Well,
it.
yeah,
But HOAs, absolutely not. You're not going to tell me what I can have where. I understand city ordinances. I don't agree with them, but I understand them. Our neighbor actually just put in, we got a new neighbor moved in, wonderful couple, young couple. They had the money to put in sod on their house after they bought their house, mind you. So kudos to them.
Oh,
But
hey, Josh. Haven't seen him in a while.
hey, babe,
Not.
they put sod in their yard, made sidewalks because he owns a company that does flooring. So, and his father in law owns a company that does some kind of construction. So they were putting a building on their property for his father in law to store construction stuff. You know what? None of anybody's business. We were like, yay, somebody's taking care of the property next door. That's wonderful. The city came in and stopped them, said, you cannot build this after they poured the concrete for this place, after they put the framing up, metal framing up for this building. And mind you, this building is probably 50 foot by 8 foot. They told him, no, you can't do that. Why not? Because it's too close to your neighbor's yard. That's us. We have no problem with it. None. But yet, city can tell you what to do.
Well, that's what something that I dealt with when I got this house and I was doing all the renovations to it. I wanted to attach the garage to the house. I was going to have it to where I didn't have to go outside. And the city told me I couldn't do it because the garage was too close to the guy's property. Now, here's the solution they gave me. I can buy 3 feet of his property, and that would be fine. I said, okay. So what's that do with the distance between the edge of my garage and the edge of his house?
Yeah.
That stays the same.
Yeah. So they told us 5 feet from the fence, which apparently is a property line. I don't know if it really is because we all know fences are not necessarily property lines. People
No.
put them up where they put them up. We have no problem moving our fence back 3 feet to allow them to do that. I really don't, because this is some bullshit, some
Yeah.
serious bullshit. But Joshua, I get it. I really do. Our parents are very old as well, and we work during the day, so we cannot go out there and do that immediately. We can't, and we won't. If somebody is walking down the sidewalk in that snow, they know it's snowing. I'm sorry, or the city can come and do it like they do the park across the street. As far as our walk, if we're walking out there on it, that's our own business. If we want to walk in snow, that's our own business. The government, the city, the bullshit has gotten into our lives way too deep. Nope.
Let's see here. I'm going to look you guys up.
They're still fighting over Cascadia here right now, which is a hockey team, a hockey rink, ice rink, and public. I don't know, like the public skating we had. They got rid of our city team, which I don't agree with, but I don't know the whole basics behind it, so I'm not going to complain about that. But apparently they didn't ask the city, and they're using our tax money for building this Cascadia. So there's been petitions. It's been a mess. It has been a huge mess.
Well, we're going through a casino thing for a second time in a year now.
Yep. Same kind of thing here. It's
People was able to stop casino from coming in a few months ago, and now they're trying it again.
Yeah. And that's what they're doing here. They're just rewording it and trying it again. And I'm sure they'll succeed, and that's fine, but it needs to go to a city vote if the city is going to pay for it.
Well, that's the thing. All these kickbacks that they get.
Yeah, it is. Oh, thank you, honey.
Oh, we got a big meeting tonight.
Yeah, what do we have
It is
here?
taco night.
Oh, taco night. I just had tacos a few days ago myself.
It is taco night.
It's been a minute since I've had tacos.
It was either tacos or lasagna tonight, and I know he does not have the energy for lasagna tonight.
Just real quick. I don't mean to change the subject very quickly like this, but I just saw this when I was sharing this out on Facebook. I'm not going to say who posted this, but this is kind of unsettling news. You don't really hear this very often.
I may be able
Someone
to
here
tell you
says,
who posted it.
maybe you guys know her, maybe you don't. But again, I'm not going to say who though. But she said, "Prayers needed. My next door neighbor's daughter's."
I know
friend."
exactly who that is. And
Oh, you know who that is?
I know exactly who it is. She's a friend.
You know,
And here's the thing. Things like this are happening all over, and it's scary. It is very scary because we just had somebody, a 19, 20-year-old girl, calling her dad right here if you guys remember being here, it's in Loveland. So that is very close to us, very close to us. And it's called ride share, where you can park and get a ride and go to work.
mm-hmm.
This girl got a flat tire on her way to or from work. I don't know. Either way, she was calling her dad saying, "Dad, I got a flat tire. Please come help me." And he was on his way. The logistics of it are not clear, whether he made it there or he didn't. But she was found dead today.
Oh my God.
This was November 30th, and she became missing.
So this was just a few days ago.
Right. And she was found today. It's not even on the news yet. It came across Facebook. She was found deceased. Cause of death has not been released, but obviously we know cause of death. Come on.
Yeah.
She was talking to her dad, and then she's gone. Cause of death. Cause of death doesn't matter because it was obviously a stranger, and she's gone. But
this is a problem with people being too trusting online.
I know.
Zach and I had a conversation, and it wasn't online. This had nothing to do with online. Somebody drove by. And Zach and I had a conversation that, when I was in New Mexico, I would walk home from work. I didn't, but I would. I had no problem with that. Here, I will not walk that block to the store in the dark. Will not do it because this is a different world we live in.
Especially after what you've had to deal with just in that park behind you.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah,
This is a different world we live in.
it is.
And, even if you're carrying, you don't know if somebody behind you has already got their gun out and shooting you. Done.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, even though you know Adrian, I'm not sure if Jeremy knows, but what the message here says, it's pretty short. Prayers needed. My next door neighbor's daughter's friend killed his parents today.
Southern Fried. What? Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
I did know that, and I
This was in New York when this happened too, and near not
Yeah.
far from Long Island.
yeah, she's in Long Island. For her to post that, it did hit her pretty hard. I've been talking to her for a while, and she's an amazing person. She is.
Yes, she is.
Puts
I've
up with
spoken to her
more
a few
shit than
times.
she ever should.
I've
But
spoken to her a few times myself.
yeah, so she puts up with more shit than she ever should. But that's a different conversation.
You know, she did say, because she gave more details in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually 4 siblings, 5 counting the son, and it was at a store. The store was packed with customers, and 2 of the siblings, as of right now, it's still a crime scene. Cops are there. The entire neighborhood knows the family, and 3 generations own the store. So they're all, she, along with several people in the neighborhood in that part of Long Island,
Yeah.
they're all organizing to see what they can help. And as far as the person that committed this horrific murder, I mean, I assumed at this point that he's already taken into custody, but exactly what the motive is, obviously, we're not going to know for a while. I mean, it just...
Oh, there'd be plenty of motives when it comes to a parent.
Yeah, I mean, but in this case...
One, there's life insurance.
Yeah.
How old is this kid?
They didn't say... She didn't say, but I assume that based on the information that I saw, I mean, I got the feeling that it's probably a young kid, too. Probably maybe in his late teens or early 20s, at least.
Yeah, that leaves a wide range there.
It does, but if he has other siblings, which who knows, maybe they could be younger than he is. So now they probably would have had to tell a couple kids that both their parents have been murdered. That's just, and what better worse time? Just a few weeks before, I know, yeah, just a few days after Thanksgiving, and now just a few weeks before Christmas. So now there's going to be a couple kids too that will not be celebrating or getting what they want for Christmas this year because of what their brother did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and we do have to remember, we don't know the motive. It could be abuse. It could have been a lot of things, not justifying the situation, but it could be a lot of things. The problem these days is, let's do a quick search, Jeremy. How many cases were there of children killing their parents? Let's say
very prominently about 30 years ago.
Yeah, let's say in the 80s.
40 years ago. The Menendez brothers.
Yeah.
And they are still trying to get paroled from that one because now with all this new information that's come out, but I don't know how valid or true this new information is.
Mm-hmm.
Right. apparently the people on the parole board didn't buy it because they denied them parole this year.
And one is on his way out. He's very sick. Crunch of your tacos. Sorry, Nate. You can always come to your second home and get some.
This is where you bite into the taco at the mic. Crunch.
I did, and that's why I muted it.
Um, but no, yeah. I'm sure there's plenty. Yeah, right there, Gypsy Rose case. That's another big story out there.
But let me tell you, let's get controversial on that one. I actually talked to her, and I follow her on TikTok, and I have talked to her. Just my opinion, and I'm going to leave it at just my opinion. That's all it is. It's not like I know her personally. She's a friend. I have just talked to her. She's demented. Now, whether it's the things that have come out about her, there was 3 doctors involved that I'm aware of. There might have been more, but there was 3 doctors involved. What she's claiming, if what she's claiming is true, and I don't believe it is, how did 3 different doctors in 2 different states perform surgeries that were unnecessary and expect to keep their license? I'm just not buying it. I think the surgeries were necessary. I believe there was some form of manipulation, but to this day, she can manipulate very, very well, and still does. Get back.
The thing that I find concerning is, she did this to her mother,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what was done. She spent time in prison. Then she comes out and she does a reality show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know about some of these people, but after going through all of that, I would want to spend the least amount of time in the public eye as possible.
Now, if she was doing it for the reason she says she's doing it is to bring attention to Munchausen's by proxy, okay, I can understand that. And she has never lived a life really outside of prison and those walls. So I can understand maybe going out and doing something, wanting to be famous, wanting to be someone. But she did it wrong. And she is not, you can't convince me she is 100% good person. You can't.
You know, with everything that we're talking about, and also what Jan just brought up too. Um, I've seen this. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. It doesn't run anymore. It ran about over
Holy shit.
10. It ran about over 10 years ago. There was actually a show that aired that was called. I don't know if you guys ever seen Killer Kids. You guys ever seen that
I
show?
have, yeah.
Not seen it. Okay, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Then, where they document, different cases of kids, particularly teenagers between the ages of 13 and 19, going out and committing crimes, particularly murder in this case. And, I've seen that on numerous occasions when it comes to different reasons why these kids
Mm-hmm.
pretty much either kill a friend of theirs or someone close, or in this case, kill their parents or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's insane. And like when you hear the stories involving these cases, I mean, pretty much some people just jump to the conclusion that they were abused or mistreated, they weren't loved. But while that may be true to some varying degree on some cases, and
Right.
many others, these were kids. These were kids that were raised by good parents. They never had any issues with them. They
They were
probably
told no. They were told no, and they didn't like that answer.
That's what I mean. Like when they were told no about certain things, that's what triggered them. And it's like, in a way, it
Mhm.
caused them to become these like natural born killers just because they heard no or whatever. But even then, there were some.
I don't know if I would describe them as natural born killers.
That's exactly what they say on the show. They say that, like, they'll ask questions on the show saying, was this kid upset because they had a bad relation with their parents, or they were causing trouble? Was it because they were denying him or her, or was it just the fact that he or she was just a natural born killer? Because again, even if they didn't say no, like even if their parents were very lovingly, they cared about their kid, they were very flexible, open minded, they got to let them do what they wanted to do, as long as it didn't cause trouble, they still commit such an act like that.
Yep. I mean, yeah, there's lots of variables. Absolutely. Maybe they were abused. Maybe that was their only way they saw out. But then others see this and they think, I can do this because I was told no.
Yeah. There was, in fact, as I recall, because I know I know it only ran for like 3 seasons. It didn't run for very long. I know there have been many other cases, obviously, that have followed. So I wish they could have continued covering the series, but they haven't in over a decade. But what I can say is that there was only one case that I recall where, in a way, the murders, I can't believe, I hate to say it, it's kind of like where the murders were justified. Ironically enough, it was involving a teenager, strangely enough, Adrian, in New Mexico, who he was truly terribly abused. He was enslaved practically by his parents. I mean, he had to do all this dirty work for him. Well, he had a sister of his who got everything she wanted, and it just got to a point where he just snapped and he killed his parents. And it's one of the very few cases that, surprisingly, many people that spoke on the stand actually were in support of him, because because they seen a lot of the abuse. They're like, yeah, they did this to a lot to him. He never got help. He didn't really get the understanding. So
Right.
this was one of the very few cases where when it came to a verdict, he was found not guilty. So,
Right.
so in a way, there was no justice for his parents, but it was one of the very few cases that everybody in the community thought, normally we would look down upon this, but seeing the evidence of what he went through and that he never got any help he was not even allowed to have any communication with the outside world. This was one of the few times where this was almost like a justified murder. So that's why he never was sentenced to life in prison for it, and he now lives.
Not justified murder is justifiable homicide.
Yeah, like they basically described it as almost kind of like I can kind of almost say almost like an act of self-defense, because at this point, not necessarily self-defense, but it got to the point where it just became too much for him and he snapped. And it was kind of one of those situations where it was either them or him. It was just kind of, it became almost like a survival tactic. So
Right. Braxton,
why,
I know what you're saying. I do. Here's the thing. I want you to go and Google. You can listen to them. The phone conversations from her in prison. I have done a deep dive into this.
and what Jan said, she knows this case, and she said that her mom was like that, and she just, well, and that's the thing too. This poor kid, prior to the murders, he did try to leave. But wait, hang on one second. My mom's nearby. All right, sorry guys. Anyways, this kid did try to leave, but his parents wouldn't even let him leave, like to even be independent. I mean, he practically, the way how they were treating him and stuff like, I mean, he was practically a slave to his own parents. And I don't know if it was the same case. It might be a different case. There was even one time that, I'm not going to go into too much detail of it, where his father actually tried to encourage his son to have sex with his mother because she was a stepmother. She wasn't related officially, but he refused. And when he refused, his father just beat the living hell out of him.
How sick.
It is. So that's why, again, this is one of the few. I mean, obviously, we all know that murder is never the answer, but this is one of the few times where he had no choice. He had to defend himself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know if it was during that moment, but it just got to a point where the stress became too much for him, and he couldn't deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
And that's, again, he's one of the. I hate to say it, but he's kind of one of the very few accepted killers in society that could still live a normal life. Because again, everybody was in support of him when he was when the trial occurred.
There's another famous case of somebody killing his parents, and he also killed his brothers and sisters as well, and that's Ron DeFeo.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know exactly that case all too well, Jeremy, with Amityville.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it didn't seem like there was a full rhyme or reason for. Although Ronald DeFeo Jr. had noted numerous times prior, before he died in prison, that his real intention, ironically enough, was only wanting to kill his father, because it was revealed that his father, Ronald DeFeo Sr., again, he was a pretty abusive person. He was abusive, especially to the younger kids, and he only cared about wanting to kill him. He didn't want to kill the rest of his family, but things just snapped, and then, of course, obviously, you have that famous murder in Amityville, where he killed all of them instead of just his father.
Yeah,
And his father, believe it or not, most people don't know this, he actually had been in and out of prison, prior to the murder. So he was pretty well known in the state of New York for, I mean, I don't know if it was involving the abuse that he was causing, but he definitely was causing trouble, that he got arrested a few times for what he did.
wow.
I don't know how we got on this, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting
Yeah.
that either.
I want to talk about this.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
yes.
let's do that.
Places.
Wendy Williams' ongoing case of wrongfully being in the redundant. I'm going to have to look at that. I don't know what that is, so I'm going to have to.
She is or was a talk show host, and now she's been going through some mental problems.
Oh, I do. Okay. I do know who that is. Okay. I have seen a documentary on her. If I remember right, her family stepped in because she was alcoholic and going way out there. Am I right?
I don't remember all of the specifics. I just remember one specific picture that was put out in, I think it was People magazine, where she's all bug-eyed and everything.
That's
And
her. Uh-huh.
I can't even believe they posted a picture of that.
Well, her family's fighting. There's a documentary, and her family is split, with what's going on. But she was such a beautiful person. I mean, model material. She was absolutely gorgeous. And she was so sweet. By all accounts, amazing person. And then somehow she got into, if I remember right, they didn't mention drugs. They
I think
mentioned
the one
alcohol.
who's got the conservatorship.
Yeah, yeah. And then she has a son and a daughter, I believe.
I don't remember how many children she has, but I know that the son is the one that had, and she's been trying to get the court to break that.
Right.
She can be in charge of all of her own stuff.
But
And
she was like losing her home. And it was, I think it was alcoholism
yeah,
that did it. Oh, Graves' disease.
What's Graves' disease?
Um,
it's probably where the bug eye thing is one of the symptoms of it.
Okay.
if I remember right, Graves' disease also affects the brain.
Dear Lord.
But Yeah, I mean, she doesn't even look the same anymore.
Oh, yeah. Just
Autoimmune disorder that causes overactive thyroid, hyperthyroidism, leading to symptoms like rapid heartbeat, anxiety, weight loss, heat intolerance.
yeah.
Um,
I looked it up.
causes
On
eye
Wikipedia.
disease,
Yeah, it causes. Yeah, it causes. It's like their eyes go huge.
which may result in bulging eyes, dry eyes,
Isn't that the
vision
same?
problems,
Okay.
heart failure.
I,
So yeah, she's sick.
I've more or less stopped looking at um, diseases and conditions online because after did a search for the surgical procedure that I was supposed to have next week and see
Right.
those pictures, I don't want to go through. I don't want to see those
Right.
again.
Yeah, but
Well,
you don't have Graves' disease.
yeah. Well, and here's a question. I mean, the bulging eye effect. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't that the same disease that affected that actor who was in Young Frankenstein back in the 70s? There was a guy who had like really big bulging eyes, which people think that was just a makeup effect, but no, that was actually how he was in real life.
There are some people that can actually bug their eyes out from sheer will.
Oh yeah,
There
yeah.
there was there was a lady that did a series of commercials where she would be talking about something, and then somebody behind the camera would say something that was like mind blowing, and all of a sudden her eyes would pop out because she's shocked by the revelation of whatever this commercial was advertising.
Right, yeah.
You remember that one, Adrian?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I don't know whatever happened to her, but I'm pretty sure that's not a disease. She's able to do that herself.
Yeah, yeah.
The actor that I
Can't even imagine figuring out you can do that.
Maybe holding your breath and pushing? I don't know.
so the actor I'm talking about, his name was Marty Feldman. Obviously, he's long dead now. He died over 40 years ago, back in 1982. At the age he was pretty young too. He was only 48 years old. He died in Mexico City, in Mexico, and it says here actually it says something. Feldman suffered from thyroid disease and developed. I don't know if it's the same thing, but it's a similar name to it. Graves. I don't even know how to say this. Optal, optal, optal. I don't even. It's it's OPH. No, excuse me. OPHTHALMOPATHY. Um,
Okay. So it
yeah,
is of the eyes.
it is still involved. It does say Graves at the beginning. I guess it's also known as thyroid eye disease.
Opto,
Yeah,
like optometrist, the opto
yeah, something
part
like.
is the eyes.
Yeah, I can't think of, but yeah, it did cause his eyes to protrude and become misaligned. It was they also say here too a childhood injury, a car crash, a boating
Oh.
accident, and reconstruction eye surgery may have also contributed to his appearance. Jeez, he really went through a lot in life. He later described.
Looking at a picture of him in 1969,
Yep,
and you can see around his eyes.
yep, it's the same picture. You must be on Wikipedia then, Jerry. That's the same thing it said. He later described his appearance as a factor in his career success. He said, "If I aspired to be Robert
I
Redford,
remember that.
I'd have my eyes straightened and my nose fixed and end up like every other
Oh.
lousy actor with 2 lines on Kojak. But this way, I'm a novelty."
Oh, at least he found the bright side, I guess, unless he was being condescending.
Well, there was an actor, I don't remember his name, back in the 50s and 60s. Yeah, he was in a lot of cowboy shows. Um, he has one eye that is always going shooting off to the left.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And he had the opportunity to fix it, and he said he was actually talked out of it because either an actor friend of his or a producer or somebody that basically will take away your gimmick, your trademark. So he kept it that way.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
to respond to what Braxton had said, yeah, like I said, no, Graves' disease as well as the thyroid eye disease, it's not a life-threatening disease or anything like that. Even though, and interestingly enough, I'm looking at this too. He was not surprisingly, he was born in the UK in 1934, and interestingly enough, his parents were actually Ukrainian Jewish immigrants from Kiev, and um, unfortunately, he described his childhood as solitary, especially during his years of evacuation to the countryside during World War II. But no, anyways, going back to the main point, it's not life threatening. It says that he died in 1982 of a heart attack while filming Yellowbeard in Mexico City. And like I said, he was only 48 years old.
Heart attacks come at all ages. I actually used to bowl with a guy who died of a heart attack at the age of 28.
Oh, that's
Okay.
hey, Ed, haven't seen
Braxton.
you here in a while.
Braxton. Hey, Ed.
And
I
s-
just
wow.
looked something up, and she is in a guardianship. It was put in place because of her 2023 diagnosis of primary progressive aphasia and frontotemporal dementia, which is what.
Bruce Willis is
Yes, thank you.
now.
And apparently me. Um, and it says that she denies these claims, stating she feels like she's in prison, which I understand because she's in early stages of it. So she doesn't understand why I'm sure she feels like she's being taken advantage of. Another aspect of that is she is a severe alcoholic.
And
And
that won't help her case at all either.
no, and
Definitely not.
they were trying to make her, stop doing that. But when her dementia kicked in, I watched her documentary. When her dementia kicked in there toward the very end, they were trying to figure out if it was alcoholism or if it was her dementia. It was definitely her dementia because she was like, you can't take me out of my house. Her kids alienated her for a while. And they told her she had to get out of her house. And it was that's just like something she worked so hard for.
No,
And she is still a very beautiful person. And if you see her with her kids, you can still see the old her in there with her kids. And she's amazing. She really is.
Oh, I'm sure.
there's something in People. You see, I have a subscription to People magazine, um, and there's always something in there once a year about her.
Mhm.
Uh,
She could have been model material, but she chose to do talk shows, which is awesome. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
why not do reality? Let's do it.
so let's get to weird places on Earth. Nick, I would like for you to start because you actually went to a weird place this year.
And I know you mentioned about it in the chat too. You know what? As I'm doing that, I should. Oh wait, it would take me several minutes. I was gonna say that I should get the pictures for it, but
Don't worry about pictures. Just talk about it.
we went to. So obviously, as most of you guys know, back in September, we went to this. We went to another Paracon in a town called Gaze. And I know what you're thinking. The name of it. It's it's located down in central Illinois. And here, hold on one second. I'm just trying to just make sure that I have the name correct on this. Um, and I was now the town of Gaze itself, as you can imagine, is a pretty small rural town. Now,
Very small.
what's up, Chris? No, Chris, this is not Chicago. This is down in central Illinois in Gates. And again, it's a very small town. There's not very much to see, but what they do have to show, however, is I don't know how something like this was possible. They have a 2-story outhouse in this little town, which is like it's just hard to believe that they actually, even though I couldn't find the pictures of us, I will share the screen for just a sec because I'm sharing this from Wikipedia. for those who haven't seen, this is an actual picture of the outhouse in Gaze. And okay, here we go. Yep, there you go.
Well, when you really think about it, it is not all that different from how they did the toilets in the towers of castles.
That is true. That is true. Um, this was built. Give me a second here while I'm just grabbing the information. It's not really too much. There's not really too much to talk about it, so this won't take long. But the so this outhouse, first of all, was built just a few years after the Civil War had ended. It was built in 1869 but here's the part that makes sense too, Jeremy. That I know I probably talked about this before, but I'll say it again anyways, because again, some of the others don't know about this. It was built in 1869 for apartments that were attached to a general store. The top floor was used by the apartment dwellers, while the bottom floor was used by patrons of the store. Now, obviously, as you guys can see in this photo, the store and the apartments clearly have long been demolished, but the outhouse remained. Each level has 2 seats, so the outhouse can be used, believe it or not, by 4 at a time. Ways from the top level drop behind a false wall into a pit. And the only other okay, that's pretty much it. But you know what's interesting? I will just throw this out too quickly, just for people to know about. I don't even know how this is possible too. West of the outhouse is the former site of what was claimed to be, it's really weird, Adolf Hitler's bicycle. A rusty bicycle once hung on a pole with a sign that read, Hitler's Bike, 1932.
Wow.
Yeah, but this outhouse, it's odd to see it, that it's so, it's 2 stories, but it makes sense because, again, this was part of a larger building that once existed.
So let's get out there what everybody wants to know. If the person on top is shitting, are they shitting on the person on the bottom?
I think that was something I think we said a long time ago.
We did, that. But we're going to say it again.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, what they did is they put the hole on one side of the building, and then upstairs they put the hole on the other side where everything goes down behind the wall. So if somebody's downstairs, you don't even know it.
Okay, so we're going to say this. I lived in Kentucky, the most backwoods, redneck state of this United States. I had an outhouse. Yes, I had a bathroom too. But there was an outhouse out in the field. One night, one of my 4 kids was using the bathroom. I wanted to go. I went outside in the dark, to the outhouse. Decide to use it. As I sit down at that outhouse, I look up because there's no door on it, and which doesn't matter because there is no neighbors. It's pasture. Well, apparently it was also mating season for cows. And there was this lovely bull who put his face. Mind you, this outhouse is 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot with a door cut out. I have a bull, the only bull in this pasture, nose to nose with me because he has stuck his damn face in there.
Oh, God.
Now, mind you, if you know anything about bulls, they're not friendly.
No, they're not.
They're not pets.
They're mean.
Mm-hmm. And whether he was curious, I don't know. But my ass did not take a cell phone out there with me. It wouldn't matter if I did. Couldn't call home.
Yeah, stop sharing.
There was no service. We're out in the country. Literally. So me and this bull became very good friends for about an hour. all I could think was, can I break the back of this? Because from the back was my house, like literally 50 feet away. No, I knew if I started making noise like that, he was going to push in, and he definitely could have trampled me. I sat there. He and I had a long conversation for about an hour till he got bored. I never went back to that outhouse. But
I can imagine.
Neither.
that's my experience with an outhouse.
You know, I love what Josh just said, saying he's talking about the outhouse that I showed, saying it's so tiny, must have smelled lovely in there. And yes, Braxton, yeah, I've seen the outhouses in medieval Europe, like what Jeremy was just describing. So yeah, you're definitely right on that.
Medieval Europe, everybody wipes with the same damn sponge, if you wipe at all.
Now, I was actually looking it up on Google Maps, and then when I zoomed out for a second there, I haven't been able to find it, but for a second there was a listing for the original Burger King in Mattoon.
Yep, I've been to that one. That's correct. I was again that same week. Funny enough, that same weekend that I was out for SilCon at that outhouse, we also went to that Burger King.
I'm trying to find it. It's not because it was shown right there on the screen, and now it's not.
Yeah, it's been a constant issue between, like, contrary to popular belief, it's not the original Burger King. It's in fact actually a separate restaurant that is called Burger King.
Also, the one that's not the actual chain.
No, it's not. So
Okay,
real quick,
I've heard of that.
yeah. So real quick on the Burger King in Mattoon, um, the restaurant's founders claim that it is the original Burger King and predates the fast food chain. And a 1968 court case between this restaurant and the larger chain is a notable case in the United States trademark law regarding the Lanham Act.
Right.
So they said, I'm not going to read all this because it would take me a while. This was founded by the Hoots family back in the early mid 1950s, and the Hoots family did learn of the Burger King in Florida and that company's plans for Illinois. The Hootses and their lawyer thought their state trademark, which was in use before the Florida chain moved into the state, gave them exclusive rights to the Burger King name all over the state. However, the Florida chain opened its first Illinois restaurant in Skokie, a Chicago suburb, which is only about 20 minutes away from me, in 1961. Then by 1967, the chain had 50 restaurants in Illinois, and the Hootses felt that they needed to take action. So the Hoots filed suit in state court, and the Florida company responded with a federal suit, Burger King of Florida, Inc. versus Hoots, in 1968. The Hoots had attorney Harlan Heller of Mattoon, whereas the president of the Burger King of Florida appeared with at least 6 lawyers, according to Betty Hoots. The case went to the federal Seventh Circuit Courts of Appeals, whose decisions still stand, again, as an important interpretation of the Lanham Act. The court ruled that because of the federal trademark registration and because of the federal indicated priority over state law, Florida's Burger Kings had rights to the name almost everywhere in the United States, including in Illinois, except in the Mattoon area, where the Hoots family had prior actual use. As a result of the case, the Hootses cannot use the name Burger King outside of the Mattoon area, and the Florida chain, which operates both nationally in the United States and internationally, cannot use the name in the Mattoon area. The district court had previously decided that the Mattoon Market area was a circle with a radius of 20 miles and centered on the Hoots' restaurant. Thus, the closest Burger King for the Florida chain is located approximately 25 miles north of Mattoon in Tuscola, Illinois. As of 2025, the Florida chain here has 319 locations in Illinois outside the 20-mile radius Mattoon area. And actually, this is wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Betty Hoots said that the Burger King Corp offered. Oh, this is interesting. Betty Hoots said that Burger King Corp offered the Hootses $10,000 for the right to operate a Burger King restaurant within the 20-mile Mattoon area, but the Hootses declined.
Okay. Okay. Braxton, actually, cows are colorblind. They react to the movement and that's why fighters have the flag. They could put up a black flag and it's going to do the same thing. I just found that out recently. So, Jeremy, what is yours?
I
don't like that.
I think you know what? I think I already know what place this is going to be too.
What do you think, Nick?
Well, let's see here. I know it's going to be. Oh, I don't know. It's going to be a hotel. It's going to be somewhere up in Nevada, and yes, it is rumored to be haunted. And let's just say it involves a lot of clowns. That's all I got to say.
Oh no!
Oh, I thought.
I will say that actually is listed in here.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so I was a bit little right then.
But the double-decker outhouse is not listed in here. I'm kind of surprised by that.
That's right. Yeah.
What my first location is actually in South Dakota.
Okay.
I'm just going to show it.
A castle, the Corn Palace.
Corn Palace.
Yeah.
Corn.
Okay, please do explain.
We have not joked about anything with corn in a long time.
Yeah. So what it is that in 1892 a Palace of Corn was established on its main street as a community gathering place to celebrate the essential crop, especially during the annual Corn Palace Festival. The Corn Castle grew and moved location. Well, okay, hold on. Year by year and year by year, the palace gets redecorated, usually by the beginning of May, and currently uses 12 different shades of corn. So the way that I'm reading this is that the exterior of the Corn Palace is actually corn.
Oh, that's
okay.
Awesome.
That's
That's how I'm understanding this. I can't imagine them doing this because if it were to get like 100 degrees outside up there, wouldn't that corn pop?
It probably would.
no.
Unless they use the like dead corn. I don't know, or if it's fake corn. I don't know. It doesn't say here. But you can visit this place Mondays to Saturdays from 8 to 5, and during the summer from 8 to 9, and it's free admission.
Oh wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's in Mitchell, South Dakota.
Mitchell, South Dakota. Okay.
Yeah. As soon as I came across this piece, Nick, I thought of you.
Yeah.
Oh, so lovingly of you.
And we haven't even talked about corn in such a very long time, like I said.
I know, and usually I try to avoid that subject, but when I saw this, I just had to bring it up. So I apologize to myself for that.
Well, I understand that, I had something, believe it or not, that involved corn, but I was going to wait until Eileen came back, but I doubt it's going to happen anytime soon. So I think one of these days I'm just going to have to bring it over so you guys can see for yourselves. In fact, Tom McNicholas was the one who got me it.
But there's one more thing I do want to show.
Okay.
Because I think this is so incredible, and this is actually in Alliance, Nebraska.
Okay.
You've heard of Stonehenge.
Yep.
But have you heard of Carhenge?
No.
I thought I've heard a thing or two, but other than that, no. Oh
Somebody
wow! Wait, hang on a sec. I'm gonna just zoom in just so I can get a. Oh wow! So it's all
replicated Stonehenge using old cars.
check it out.
Yeah.
Wow.
And since I go through Nebraska every time I go to Nevada, actually, I need to check and see just where this is, Carhenge, because I want to see if I might be able. Okay, here we go.
I was gonna say that.
Joshua.
I was gonna say
What's
these
wrong
cars.
with you?
Oh God. Well, I gotta say
Stop that.
the car. I know they're old fashioned cars, so it still exists today. That is.
Braxton, please explain compone.
I thought it
gotta
said.
know.
I thought he meant. I,
I
thought it
really
said,
got to have you down here. You got to cook for me.
oh, he,
Up here. Up here.
well, I was gonna say up here for you because he lives down in Louisiana.
I was there and did not hear about that. Of course, I was interested in the crawfish boils and all the good stuff.
See, that's stuff I actually want to try. If I ever get the chance.
Jambalaya. Yeah.
That's stuff I really want to. I really want to try a lot of the Cajun stuff. If I ever make the chance of heading down to Louisiana and Mississippi.
Get a recipe from a true Cajun, not online.
Yeah.
A true Cajun, and make it. If you follow instructions, you can do it.
I will say a few nights ago I did, and I know this is probably a place I think we've all been to, but you might find this hard to believe. This was my first time ever going to this restaurant. Surprisingly, we haven't gone even when I've been on my road trip, even on the road trips. I went to Chili's for the first time. Great restaurant, I will say.
What?
Yeah, I know. I know. I know what you're thinking. I don't know. I've been trying numerous times to getting out there. I finally had that opportunity. But among one of the things I had there, they had this really good pasta that it had Cajun spice on it stuff. I mean, I know obviously in a way that doesn't count because
No, God, no.
It was still good though. I mean, I will admit it was still good to eat.
Yeah, that's the equivalent of Tex-Mex.
Yeah.
It's no, God.
In
Hey,
fact,
Yeah.
AJ, Carhenge is 3.5 hour drive from you.
oh, that's not bad.
Not at all.
Where at?
It's in Alliance, Nebraska. It's actually directly north of Sidney, Nebraska,
Okay.
and that's a city that I've stayed in numerous times.
That's
Okay.
basically up the same distance.
Tell
for
me
to
the
get to.
name of the city again.
Alliance.
That's pretty much about the same distance for me to get to your house, Jeremy.
More or less, yeah.
So when we go visit my daughter, we may just go see that.
And funny
Yeah.
enough, Brax.
It's
Go
really-
ahead, go ahead.
no, I'm just saying it's really cool.
Yeah, it is. I was just going to respond to Braxton. Funny enough, he said he's been to Nevada, but has never been to Nebraska. That's the opposite way around for me. I've been in Nebraska, but never been to Nevada. But I will tell you, Braxton, if you ever get the chance of going out to Nebraska, expect a lot of flat land and open plains. Because aside from,
That's Kansas.
well, Nebraska's like that too. Like aside from,
Nothing compared to Kansas.
I mean, apart from Omaha, Grand Island, North Platte, and Lincoln, it's pretty much nothing. Yeah, it's literally out. You're out in the middle of nowhere for the most part. But no, Nebraska shares that too. It's not just Kansas that does.
Okay, so here's Kansas. Okay,
Yeah.
you can see your destination. See it.
Okay.
And you're still 3 hours from it.
Yeah. Yeah. I figured.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's where we grew up. That's normal.
Well, Jeremy.
Joshua, no, I was not moving to Louisiana, but I have been there. I did live there for a month or so. If I had my choice of places to move, that would definitely be one of them. It has the best of all worlds except for mountains, which is perfectly fine with me. I've seen my share of snow for now. It has the ocean. in that state. It has the lake where the ocean meets the lake, and that is the coolest place on earth. It's not strange, but it is awesome that like the ocean and the lake meet and they will not cross.
That's
Like you
also
have salt water here, you have fresh water here. They will not cross.
I have seen that. It's amazing how that works.
It is.
I haven't.
I think that should be one of the wonders
Yeah,
because if you put, let's say, we make a glass of salt water to gargle with or whatever it is, salt water, and we have a glass of fresh water. You put it in, you're not going to know the difference. But in nature, it knows the difference, and an alligator will not cross.
Josh
It'll
said just
sit
like
at that
Florida.
fresh water.
Josh said just like Florida, though.
You know, I I I've been to Florida. I love their white beaches. They're beautiful water. I don't remember seeing freshwater and saltwater, but I'm sure there is where they meet.
Yeah, there's
Um,
several areas of.
Texas, there is not. I don't know of any place in Texas where that meets and
Yep.
doesn't cross.
Well, it makes sense in Florida because you also have to remember, much like Louisiana, much of Florida is swamp related. So a lot of that probably drains out into the Atlantic Ocean.
You know, I did not see any swampland in Florida when I was there.
Really, like not even in the Everglades, or
I went from one side of the state to the other, of course, on the road. I didn't veer too far off the road. They had just had, whether it was a hurricane, if they classified it as a hurricane, I don't know. They had just had some kind of serious wind damage. And a lot of the houses had the blue tarps over the top
yeah,
of the roofs. Um, and the orange crops were compromised that year. This was maybe 15, 20 years ago. And I don't remember seeing anything but the ocean. No swampland, none of that.
Well, most of the swamp is down there in the southernmost part of Florida, anyway.
yeah. Well, in the southernmost part of Florida, and also part of the northwestern part of it, like where it shares the border between Georgia and shares the border with Georgia and Alabama, because that's like where the Everglades. No, I'm sorry, I got that wrong. No, that's where the Everglades is.
The
Further,
Everglades
yeah,
is
it's further down south, because that's also where Lake Okeechobee is located.
I'm going to tell you right now, Alabama is not a place you want to go in certain places unless you know exactly what the hell you're doing.
Mississippi's that way too.
I was going to say, isn't Mississippi like that too? Both
I have heard it
Mississippi and
is
Alabama.
from Eileen and people that have been there. Myself, I have not had that experience, but
Well, when I went down there through Mississippi back in March, Eileen was telling me where to go and where not to go.
Yeah, like Jackson, I remember. I know it's the capital of Mississippi, but they said that that's kind of a relatively rough area.
Yeah,
I'm sure. They say Denver's rough too, but I have
Everybody's,
come to the conclusion it's no rougher than it is right here.
you know, you have to remember, and a lot of people sometimes,
even Denver is bad enough.
well, and people always point out to Chicago. I mean, let's face it. At the end of the day, most of the cities here in this country have a lot of rough areas. I mean, it doesn't
Oh,
really matter whether you're here in Chicago or Jackson or Denver or even Fort Wayne. You're going to have your share of rough and crime areas.
yeah. Yep.
In fact, and not just here in the States. I mean, that also goes for other countries. Because you guys remember what I told you about what happened with Lois's son when he ran off. That was in downtown Glasgow in Scotland. So once again, it shows that, it can get scary out in the streets, of any type of city, because for the most part, like you said, unless you know where you're going, for the most part, you don't know what you're walking into.
We were discussing that today with mom and dad. I was. And here's the thing. We have become desensitized.
Yes.
Whether it's through video games that are very realistic,
Mhm.
whether it's through television. If you go back even 30 years. Not even that, of course. Okay, so not that long for me. But if you go back 30 years and look at television then and look at television now,
Mm-hmm.
what you're going to see more of now is very realistic shootings, very realistic deaths, um, very realistic.
Times where video games were blamed for shootings.
Yes.
Yeah,
And music.
I mean, I think it's all the way around. I don't think it's just one thing. It's all the way around. We have a Facebook page, which I'm a part of, and I have no problem with it. But I'm already desensitized. It's too late for me. But it's called Beauty of Postmortem.
Yes, I've heard of it.
And it's where people, it's a personal preference. Years and years and years ago, people took pictures of their deceased children mostly because that's the only picture you're going to have. Pictures were very expensive back then. So they took post-mortem pictures of their children. Now, and they made them look living. You have to really know what you're looking for in most of them. But, even it's a personal preference. Let's say you are with your parent and they are passing, and you decide to take a picture for whatever reason, whether it's the last picture you'll ever take of the way they really were, whether it's a moment that you want to remember just as they passed, or whatever it was.
Well, don't forget, back in the 1800s, they used to take postmortem pictures all the time.
Yes, they
That's what
did. That was a common
that's
thing.
that's what I was talking about. But you know, now people have personal preferences of, and I've even seen post-suicidal pictures that the husband or wife or whoever took. Of course, it was a close family member, whoever found him, whatever the case might be. That's a personal preference to take that and keep it for yourself. Whatever the reason might be, I'm not judging. That's your own way to grieve. But that page is a place that you can post it and tell the story, and people understand. And there's morticians on there that talk about, how people will ask, how did my loved one have so many wrinkles on their neck and their face looks so sunk in, and whatever the case might be. And then when I saw them again after they treated them, they looked like they did 20 years prior. So a mortician will explain how that happened and what they do to cause them to look that way. And it's a way for people to understand. But in the end, we are we know more than we did that long ago, because that wasn't something talked about. That wasn't something you were supposed to know. Seeing pictures of death is not something you were supposed to see. Would I take pictures of my loved one? Maybe, but I wouldn't post it. No. Um, would I want pictures of me out there? Honestly, I don't care, because at that point, I'm not there anymore. It doesn't matter. My reputation is what I did, what I left behind, whether it was good or bad. I don't care. Some people do, though. So, no, I would not do that. But it is a way for people to grieve, deal, whatever it is they do. But we are desensitized to that anymore. So, therefore, let's say we're walking somewhere and find a deceased body. Now, the rate of decomposition might set us aback a little bit.
Hmm.
That might scare us. But to just find a just barely deceased body, the fact that you found it, the circumstances that you found it, might have some mental effect on you, and it should. But is it going to shock you as much as it would have maybe 50 years ago when things like this weren't seen? Things like this weren't heard of. Death was taboo. You just didn't talk about it. You didn't see it. You didn't, that might have caused somebody to spiral.
I think when it comes to discovering a dead body, it's going to have the same effect because even though we have been desensitized on so many things, I think actually seeing it in person, discovering it in person, will still have a very traumatic effect on you.
I
Well,
don't know.
I can, I can, att-
It really
I can.
depends.
Oh, I'm sorry, True. Go ahead.
It really depends. And Jan can chime in on this. And Jan, honey, I promise you I'll have you looking your best before anybody sees you.
Well,
Um,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
the thing is, and Jan can chime in on this because I learned this from her. It is all in the way we look at death, honestly. If we come up on something, we understand whatever pain they had, whatever is gone. They're not dealing with it anymore. If we have to think about the circumstances of that death, to me, I want to know, why did they die? How did they die? The why. If somebody was shot and killed, or whatever the case might be, murdered for absolutely, whatever, it's not our place to take a life.
It is.
So that might have some effect, absolutely. But if somebody took their own life, of course it's sad. Of course it's terrible. But that was a choice.
Well,
It's not they chose to live and somebody took it from them.
mhm.
I What Braxton just said, I was actually going to bring that up because I remember reading a story several years ago.
I
Either
love those. I see them on TikTok. I love it.
which thing that Braxton said?
Cuba or Puerto Rico, one of the other several years ago, there was where
Caribbean.
this guy had just passed away and they had him propped up in the house.
Oh,
Absolutely.
jeez. Yeah,
Part of
that's in the
Absolutely.
Caribbean or South America. He
There's
said.
some on their motorcycles. There's
What?
some that are in their cars. People are dancing around them. It is
Insane.
a happy event.
Oh my
And it's
God.
all in the way you look at it.
You know, I understand like down in Mexico, like obviously they have the Days of the Dead festival down there, and they do
Irish ways.
celebrations down there, celebrating death. But the difference obviously over there is they definitely do not have the bodies propped up. They do this in a way to remember, those who have gone before them. So even Mexico doesn't do anything like that.
Okay, let's talk about weird. Weird to us, but it is their culture.
Yes.
Okay, so um, I, I'm not going to say I'm 100% correct. Whether it's China or I believe it's China, but it could be Japan. I'm not 100%. Korean maybe. No, it's not Korean. At any rate, they have their loved ones, like their parents. Of course, that is a country that doesn't have Social Security, which means the family takes care of their elderly. They take care of the ones that took care of them. And that's the way it should be, but
I
I'm
think
not going there.
I think that's Japan
Yeah,
Okay.
it sounds like Japan.
because they have a very high
Respect for their elders, yes.
not that's not the word I was looking for. Is like reverence, like
Yeah,
they
Right.
relevant.
revere
Yep.
the
So
elder
there was
so much.
yep. Yep. So there was a documentary, and there was these they went to this one, Americans went to do this documentary, and there was this home, and the guy allowed him in. It was a husband and wife, allowed him in. They were maybe in their 30s, and there was a woman laying there in a makeshift casket, no lid on it, laying there. Now, obviously, they mummified her in some way. I don't know what they did, but she looked a lot like she did in life. She was very elderly when she passed. They would cleanse her every day. They ate around her so that she was a part of their dinners, their everyday life. They spoke to her every day. They would change her hat every day. Um, just she was a part of their everyday life, and it wasn't a sad thing. It was your ancestors are still a part of you, which to us we may think that's really disgusting because you may not want a dead person in your home. But that's the way they honored them. Indians, let's think about Indians. They have a wake, and I can attest this personally. It is it's very different. They have a wake where you keep your, and I know other cultures do this, but I don't remember which ones they are. You keep your loved one in your home for so many days, and people can come visit as they can, but they're in your living room. That where they come see them in the nursing or the funeral home, they have the visitation. No, this is in your living room. So you go to bed with them there. You wake up with them there for however long they are there. Um, Indians light a fire. My son did this for his father and his brother. They light a fire, and the fire lasts for 3 days. There are people in the tribe assigned to bring food for this 3 days because the family does not leave. So they make sure the family's fed. They make sure the family has what they need. But that fire is there so that the whole thing behind it is they light a fire and allow the soul to go say goodbye to everybody that they want to. The fire is there so that they can find their way back to themselves. Um, we all have so many different traditions that now we think are morbid, but at one time, that's all there was.
Mhm.
So nobody found it morbid. We're
Here's
coming back to
here's
that.
what really disturbs me. There are actually studies out there, and
Hey, Keith.
there we go. Um, there are studies out there that somehow they've come to the conclusion that when you die, your brain is still very aware, and you know you're dead.
Right.
I believe that.
I
I
can
do.
imagine that.
Now,
I
Braxton.
believe that.
Now, Braxton. I got to just catch up on just a few things that Braxton had said. He said again in some Caribbean and South American funerals, they actually prop the late loved one's eyes open when they die. And
Hmm.
Josh also
I
said,
don't want that.
yeah, I wouldn't either. I like how everyone's kind of giving what they say about different, cultures. Then Josh also said in Japan they can only bury bones, at least if it's an animal. A pet must be in an urn only of bones above ground.
Well, they don't have a whole lot of ground to begin with.
They don't, yeah.
I'll
Um,
have to ask my son about that one.
and then
I think that's changed since then, but I'll definitely ask him.
and then
He lives
Jan
in
also
Japan.
said Jan also said I knew this already that yes, Day of the Dead is Catholic in Mexico, but they have skulls, real skulls. Okay, so that I didn't know about the real skulls.
Well,
Now I almost forgot. I just wanted to say this quickly. Another way to kind of share that culture, and I told you guys about it before. when you guys were mentioning just a few minutes ago, like how we become so desensitized, but if we're seeing like a true dead body for the first time, it affected me because you remember I told you guys about that childhood friend of mine that tragically passed away from cancer. Yeah, she was only 26 years old when she got it. And then when we went to the funeral or the wake, if you will, she was Hindu. So, there was a family from India. So the way how they did things with their, deceased was definitely far different than what we would see like in a Catholic or Christian, or Jewish faith.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as I explained before, the body was never embalmed. It pretty much was left the way she was when she died. And it's hard to believe that she was only 26 when she died. Not only just because of how young she was, but when I saw her body, she looked like she was already 100 years old. I mean, she truly had the face of death on her, and she even had this kind of greenish tint to her, which for me, I could only see her for maybe just like 2 or 3 minutes the most. Afterwards, it just became too much, and the rest of the time I was there, I had to look at pictures of her instead.
Yeah.
That's the only way I could truly remember, because when you see something like that for the first time, speaking from experience, I can definitely assure you guys, takes a while for something like that to settle in.
Oh, I get it. Absolutely. And Braxton, you just reminded me of that. I have seen that. So my mom died when I was 8. At 8 years old, you have no concept of death. Period. End of story. You just don't. Your parents can tell you this person's going to die. And the word death, it doesn't sink in. It doesn't sink in it's permanent. It doesn't sink in, whatever. But I remember my mom was in the hospital for probably a year. And she had a trach in her. She had cancer. So she was in ICU. She had a trach. They allowed me to go see her after she passed. And the nurse come to me and said, hey, my dad was already in there and he was in no shape to tell me. But she was like, hey, your mom has passed. And I had no emotion. I was like, okay.
Sorry, guys.
I was like, okay. And do you want to go see her? Yeah. The only thing I can remember from seeing her was that trach was gone and there was no hole. There should have been a hole. That's all I fixated on. There should have been a hole, but there's not a hole. How'd that heal? That's impossible. Well, now I know it was fake skin that they put over her so that I could see her. But later, they asked me, do you want to see her before she's cremated? And I said no. Why I said no, I don't know. I think I knew at 8 years old that she would look different, and I didn't want to see it. Whatever that was, I don't regret that decision. The next time was my best friend. She passed away at 46 years old. And unexpectedly. I mean, she was headed to my house and died of a heart attack. But at least that's what they say. I'm not buying it, but that's a whole different story. At her funeral, I could not touch her. My best friend, mind you, couldn't touch her because I knew it'd be cold. I knew it'd be hard, and I wasn't doing it. Could not touch her. So, I mean, we all have our different quirks. Now, had I seen her, I'd have been fine. Just seeing her. Touching her? No way. I didn't touch my mom either. Just touching it, I can't do.
I think for my mom, I think I did touch her hand.
Do you remember the cold, the hard?
Not really, but that was a long time ago too. That was
Most people, that's all they remember, and that's what I didn't want to remember.
no, I don't remember that. Real quick, Keith, you live in Nebraska, right?
No, Keith does not.
Well, he said in an earlier comment, bring it to Nebraska.
Oh, wait. Does he?
Yes. Well, that's why I'm asking him.
Oh, you're a whole different story, Jan. I would pick your ass up, clean your ass up, and you're going to look like the princess you are. I don't care what position you died in.
Okay, Keith.
Why
Have
did I think Louis? What the fuck? Never mind.
Keith, have you heard of Carhenge? Right more. Okay.
I think that's on the other side, isn't it?
Probably.
If I'd have known you were that close, I'd have come said hi.
Okay. Oh yeah, he's directly south of Lincoln. Oh, he's been there.
So Lincoln is not. I know they routed us when we were going to my daughter's. It was snowing. There's places they shut down the road completely. You're just done. If you don't make it before they shut it down, your ass is stuck. But
That would be right outside of Sydney, on your side of that state.
but they routed us through Nebraska to go to Kansas, and I mean it was just like border and back. But
Okay. So Keith is just an hour away from Lincoln, so I could probably even take a little side trip and go meet him.
What did I miss?
Nothing.
Oh, he says 40 minutes.
okay, Keith, Google this. How far are you from Lake in Kansas? We go there all the time.
Sorry, guys. I had to get some medication in. It's actually a shot I had to get in, so I had to step away for a few minutes.
Excuse me, what?
It's a special shot, Benadryl. No, not Benadryl. Not Benadryl. It's
The shot.
what's that?
You mean needle shot?
No, not like an actual. Well, it is a needle, but not like the one like we all are familiar with. It's one that just goes into my, like just my stomach region, and it's just, I don't even feel it when it happens.
Are
It's
you diabetic, Nick?
no. It's not that type of shot. No, it's something different, but it is designed to help me lose weight.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, it's not. I should have been more clear. It's not a major concern. It's to help me. I just can't remember. For some reason, I just can't remember the name of it. But
Wegovy or something like that?
Ozempic.
No, not that either. It's a newer one too. It starts with a P, I think.
Huh. I don't know.
It will get back to me.
No, it's not a lake. It's called Lakin. Lakin. Kansas. Or Garden City. Either one. Like GLP-1?
Yeah.
Oh, to get to Garden City is probably for him is shorter than it would be for me to go from Lincoln to you, because I had to stay in Lincoln that one time. Remember, it was the first time I came to you guys when you were still living in that trailer.
Shot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Back when we first moved here, yeah.
No, before you moved there, it was when you were living in that trailer.
Yeah, when I first moved to Colorado.
Yes, because I was going to try to make it to Kearney, but I couldn't. Is when I discovered that I couldn't really see in the dark very well, because that was my first year after I got hurt. So I stayed in Lincoln, and then made it to you guys at, I want to say, about 3 that afternoon.
Yeah. I know it was decently earlier than expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were still, at that point, you hadn't even eaten solid foods.
No.
Yeah, I was going to say you must have still been on a liquid diet by then.
Yeah, because just a couple of weeks before, I had finally had my jaw opened up.
Not after he got to my house, he was not on liquid foods anymore.
Well, I was, but I was kind of like going back and forth.
You
But
ate chicken and you ate mashed taters.
Now that was when you gave me Lucy.
Mhm.
um, real quick, I just wanted to throw this out just before before we end things. I don't mean to change it. It's something with Braxton again said. Did you guys hear about it a few days ago? Because he mentioned about something about the 1921 Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre survivor. Did you guys hear she recently passed away a few days
She
ago?
did. She passed away.
At
I
the
want
age,
to say it was the end of November,
yes.
and she was 111, if
Yeah,
I
she was
remember right.
111. Mrs. Mother Viola Fletcher passed away last month at the age of 111. So I think,
She went to Congress before she did that. Before she passed, she went to Congress.
yes.
I
She,
don't know anything about that.
oh, yes. So she is often
Beautiful
regarded.
woman.
Yes, she was. She is often regarded as she was often regarded as the last living survivor of the 1921 Tulsa race riot that occurred in Oklahoma. And yeah, she lived till 111.
Yep, she was a very I with her past, 111. Let's think 111 women. Just being a woman, you're not going to be educated. Being a black woman,
Yes.
you're really not going to be educated. She had both strikes against her
But she was
a
only
hundred years ago.
yeah, she was only 7 years old when the race riot occurred.
But listen to her talk.
Yeah.
If you get a chance to listen to her in front of Congress,
You
she
know,
is so educated, so brilliant.
well, and it makes sense because prior to the race riot in Tulsa, it was in the community of Greenwood. Prior to the riot, unlike most areas, obviously, in the segregated South, including, of course, most of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Greenwood, prior to the race riot, was actually one of the best towns that an African American and his or her family could live in. Because before all this, I mean, it was true paradise for them. They had their own restaurants, they had their own churches, their own schools, libraries, grocery stores. They had everything they possibly needed. And most white residents, including even racist ones, did tend to leave them alone. I mean, yeah, they would still harass them, but most knew to keep away. And most of these black residents kept to themselves, aside from each other. And that's probably why she may have actually received a lot of that education in some way prior to the riot. Because again, it was one of the few real good towns that a black person and his or her family could live peacefully prior to the riot.
But if you get a chance, Google her speaking. There's no way she received that education prior when she was 7 years old.
Yeah, maybe you're
It,
right on that.
it's just not. This
Okay.
woman took it upon herself
Right.
to educate herself.
And today I heard Greenwood still does exist, but obviously it doesn't have the same recognition or the success like it did prior to the riot. And it's not only just because, obviously, of the riot that occurred, but it was also because, obviously, by the mid 1960s with the Civil Rights Act and the desegregation, that it was just no longer necessary at that point. I think today Greenwood, there are still residents that live there. I think it's still a mostly black populated area, but again, it just doesn't have that same level of success like it did 100 years ago.
Braxton, you're right. Well, here's the thing, though. Tulsa. Look at the pictures of that riot. Look at the
Yes,
pictures that were taken. Tulsa was still a pretty large city at that time. Now, of course, it's huge now. And I hate driving in it. I would rather drive in Oklahoma City than Tulsa. But Tulsa was still pretty large at that point.
yes, it was. It was. That's why Greenwood was such a huge destination for a lot of African Americans. In a way, it kind of did play a role, even though it was still kind of southern, if you will. It still kind of played a role during the first couple of years of the Great Migration.
Tulsa is today no place to be, guaranteed. Neither is Oklahoma City, for that matter. Uh, It's just not. My daughter lives in a town in Oklahoma that it's funny because I have 5 grandkids. She has 5 kids. I have 7 grandkids, but she has 5 kids. And in that town, they go out, which I'm not going to claim, you know, my family's perfect. It absolutely is not. My kids are, but my grandkids are learning and growing up. And one of my grandkids went to the store and stole something, which many kids do. It's how you handle that the first time that makes a difference. And it was handled. It was handled quickly and efficiently.
Braxton, I am actually very familiar with Rosewood. Um, read the stories on that. I got the movie that's based on that whole thing. Yeah, Rosewood was an ugly, ugly thing.
See, I'm really surprised that the Tulsa race riot has not been made into a movie because it was such a huge thing. But also, like what Braxton said, that there were other race riots, Blacktown massacres in the U.S. Believe it or not, Brax, I'm sure you probably know this. There was even one here that occurred in Chicago back in 1919. It actually, in fact, out
Oh,
of
yeah,
all the
It
out,
happened everywhere.
well,
it did.
out of all the race riots that occurred in the early 20th century, believe it or not, the most violent one actually occurred here in Chicago.
What they don't talk about are the smaller towns.
Yes,
And that's the thing. It doesn't make history
it doesn't.
because it's swept under the rug, just like this. I was telling you about my grandson. My daughter texts me, Mom, a sheriff is in front of my house.
Good night,
Okay.
Keith.
And a sheriff is in front of my house. And I'm like, okay, so now, mind you, I've been to her town. It has one stop sign. The rest of the cross streets don't have even a stop sign. And she said, Mom, it's the store owner and the sheriff. Store owner is the sheriff's wife.
Oh, wow.
My
Okay.
grandson stole from that store. They came to her house and confronted this child, as they should. It is handled internally, swiftly, and very accurately. They come to the mother. Let the mother handle it first. If she doesn't handle it, then the law will, of course. But they gave her a chance to handle it. I think what he stole was like candy or whatever it was. It was under $20.
Something very
Regardless,
cheap.
it was stealing. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter what
I
it
mean, in
was.
the end, yeah, it's still stealing no matter how much it is.
And I know that she has taught them better than that. But in small towns, things are handled quickly and efficiently.
I
Just like
actually, I
just like
actually remember a time when I think I was 6 or 7. My mom was taking me to the old Winn Dixie grocery store,
mhm.
and we pulled into this parking lot, and there was this woman who was literally dragging her kid into the store because he stole lifesavers.
You damn betcha. That would have been me.
Yeah, I remember that specifically, and that was in Port St. Lucie, Florida.
I'll tell you that story in a second. But my granddaughter, the only girl out of all 5 of them kids, decided she was going to sneak out one night at her friend's house. Most of us went to our friend's house, said we were at another friend's house, and snuck out. Well, there's these things called security cameras these days,
Yeah.
and everybody in town has one. So
Yep.
there was a trail of where she went, how long she stayed, and how long it took her to get back. Every one of those trail cams, or not trail cams, but security
Security
cams,
cameras.
Like in Canada,
reported back to Mom.
You know, it's funny. I've seen my share of people who've stolen because, as you guys, I don't even have to remind you, but I'll say it anyway. When I was working at Spirit Halloween, there were a few cases where some kids stole some stuff. Now, primarily, most of the kids that stole were like middle schoolers. It's kind of crazy to think. It's like when we dealt with other groups of kids, like the toddlers, preschoolers, the elementary schoolers, high schoolers, college students, even graduate students. All those other aforementioned groups were much more manageable. But when it came to the middle schoolers, though, they were undoubtedly the worst. And unfortunately, you guys might find this a little bit hard to believe, but it also varies from state to state. So for us, in spite we were in a building that had security cameras, we were not allowed to use the security cameras. So we kind of had to do things. We were pretty much back to the Stone Age of security, where we had to always constantly keep an eye on it. And there was at least one or two occasions where we saw some kids that looked like they were stealing, and we did see, who their parents were. We did try to report it to their parents. But unfortunately, these were obviously inconsiderate, and, they obviously were not understanding what we were trying to tell them, saying like, hey, your kids stole this or something like that. And they would just flat out defend them. And it was just maddening sometimes, just the way to see, especially in this day and age, that if your kid is accused of doing something like that, how far will some of these parents go to actually defend them and not accept the responsibility? That's truly a responsibility right there.
Look at some of the crime shows where a parent knew that the child had committed a murder, but yet the parent takes the blame for it because they've lived their life. Well, what are you doing at that point? You're allowing that child to go murder other people. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
but my child, 7 years old, mind you, we walked into a gas station, a little, like, it was kind of a gift shop type thing, but gas station. We go back out. I'm trying to keep track of 5 kids. We go back out. The youngest pulls something out of his pocket and he's playing with his sibling with it. Where'd you get? We're not even out of the parking lot. Where'd you get that? Oh, no. It hit me immediately where he got that because he didn't have it. It was a little toy soldier. I don't know how much that thing would have cost. Maybe $2. I don't know. Little toy soldier. I said, did you steal that? Well, I was playing with it and I put it in my pocket. Let's go. We went right back in that store. I had him by the ear. Walking him into the store. Not hand, ear. Back in the store. Had him tell the owner of the store what he had just done. And I told the owner of the store, I said, you're not going to play nice. This is real life. I need you to play along. And he's like, okay. And I said, he just stole this. How much does it cost? Of course, I don't remember now. The kid's now in the military and fighting for our country. So it was a long time ago. And apparently learned his lesson. But he says, I told him, I said, he's going to work this off. What do you need done? We were traveling. We were like traveling hours and hours. I think it was like from Kentucky to Florida. We were traveling. I don't care. We're stopping right here until he's done what he's got to do. I said, what do you need done in this store? Because he's going to work this off. And he had him sweeping and mopping and dusting, and we stayed there for 2 hours.
Wow.
Which means he probably got $1 an hour. No, whatever. He did not get to keep that piece, regardless of working. I don't care. You don't reward somebody, even though they worked. You don't reward them with what they just tried to steal. It stayed there. But, you know.
In a lesson.
Yeah.
We all sat there and waited. We all sat in the car.
I
We're none too happy. The rest of them.
At the end of the day, it's definitely better than the alternative, like what Braxton said, because there's other parts of the world that if you steal, they'll chop your hand off or even both of them.
You know
Yeah.
what? I honestly, I don't have a problem with that. Take a finger off every time somebody steals. You know what that does? It lets you realize that that is not okay, and there are actual real consequences for that, not just a slap on the wrist. There
Well, and
are
that's
real consequences.
kind of the frustrating part again when I worked at Spirit, and I did in a way witness what I suspected was kids stealing, but yeah, and it wasn't. And you know what? It wasn't always kids. Every now and then, sometimes you did have an adult that
Oh
did
yeah.
the same exact thing. And even though we didn't have security cameras, we did, however, had one partial advantage, and that was because yes, I worked, just like a simple stocking job, but at the same time, though, because I'm a pretty big and imposing guy, I was also kind of at times kind of used kind of like as security. So whenever I suspected something that there was stealing, I mean, it was under constant surveillance I was given. Like some of these people didn't realize that they were being watched, as I would describe, not just for myself, but as employees of Spirit. The best way I could say is that we put people who we consider wanting special attention under constant surveillance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the thing. That's people that do that. You can't always blame the parents when they're grown because they may have been taught correctly. They chose to go a different path. We can't choose how our kids act once they're out of our house.
Yeah, because they're the ones that made the choice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's, once they're an adult, that's their problem. I don't, it, they may have had a bad childhood. They may have been taught that way in childhood, and that's wrong. Absolutely. But you make your own choices.
Probably has a lot to do with it too.
Mhm.
What is it?
Environment.
The
Sure.
environment. Yeah.
Sure. You are who you hang out with.
Yeah.
And you see, my circle's very, very small because of that reason.
Exactly. And that's probably I mean, in spite of, our community, as far as my actual social group, I keep it relatively small too because believe me, in the past I used to hang out with people that did stuff like that. In fact, there was one time
Sure.
that one of these guys that I used to hang out with had stolen something from Best Buy. And when the employees went up and accused, I walked away immediately because I didn't want to look like I was involved in it and to show that I was my own person. And even when I got home that night, I told my parents immediately. I'm saying, look, I want you guys to know this is not. Yes, I was hanging out with them, but I was not in. I did not want any involvement with this. So
Yeah.
uh, they knew, of course, obviously, was telling the truth. They raised me right. I knew it was, never right to steal. So I just walked away when I had
Yeah.
the chance. Now, as far as this guy, and I will say, for this guy who stole, he may have gotten away with what he did, but believe it or not, over the last couple of years, he has been in and out. Well, I don't know if he has recently, but over a decade ago, he was in and out of out of jail for what? Not just stealing, was also involved with drug possession and selling as well.
Yeah. So he was going down a dark path.
He was. I'm going to make this real short, but the thing that really pushed it over the edge for me with him was that we had one of our summer festivals here in not in Chicago, but in my area in Northbrook. We have something called Northbrook Days. And me and a few other friends were going to meet up with him, and we did. But strange. Now you have to remember at that time, almost 10 years ago, we were all in our early 20s.
Right.
He was with a group of kids that looked like they were a combination of middle school, high school, and even some college students. They looked like they were anywhere between the ages of 12 to 19. And my first thought was, well, Bobby, like his name was Bobby. It was like, Bobby, like, why are you hanging out with a whole bunch of kids? You're like 23, 24 years old. What are you doing hanging
Same
out?
mentality.
What's that?
Same mentality.
Same intent. But what I thought was really strange was, first off, the way how some of these kids were dressed up. Some of them had like these
That's right,
skimpy looking,
Braxton.
yeah, some of them had these skimpy looking outfits. Some of them had like offensive material on it and stuff like that. And then at one point, he says to me that he did. Now, at first, I didn't believe it. I mean, um, he's like saying, "Oh, I've worked with them and stuff." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "I've worked some stuff," and I try to process that in my head, and I think to myself, "No way!" You know that I can tell he's doing. You know, his head is full of shit. He's been in and out of the penitentiary. He's not telling me the truth. But
Right.
then after when he went into full detail and basically said he worked when he means that he works with them, and the reason why they had these weird appearances was because he had been giving and selling drugs to them. I looked
Yeah.
at him and I looked back, and then I looked back at him, and once I finally got the understanding, I'm like, dude, these are kids. I'm like, the hell did you do? And he actually seemed almost he seemed proud of it. He was
Yeah.
excited about it. It was almost like he was expecting like some kind of a thumbs up, or some kind of pat on the back. And something tells me before this, these were probably good kids, and now they were going into that kind of party life, troublemaking lifestyle. I mean, I mean, you con your way with these kids that were probably very well educated, raised by these, their parents. And because of this guy, it's like, so what do? You drug all of them. And now, I mean, it was 10 years ago. I don't know exactly where those kids are today. Obviously, they'd be in their 20s or even early 30s now, but something tells me they went down a dark path and were not the same kids they were before. So I can't even imagine how their parents were like. I mean, it must have been
That's
like
probably right. Well, you never know, and that's the thing. We can't assume, but
yeah. I mean,
it's we all we can judge is the person that we know.
it's just like anything else, as we all know. At the end of the day, no matter how big or bad of a criminal you are, people do draw the line at kids. It really, really bothered me that he did this. Yeah, that's when I couldn't associate with him anymore. In spite that I've known him since high school, um, this was just unforgiving.
Yep, yep, and that's how boundaries.
And
We
these were
draw our boundaries.
kids that probably had huge bright futures ahead of them. I really hope that maybe they eventually changed, but still, just imagine. I mean, even with like what you said,
Me too, Braxton.
as like what you said, examples for Adrian as far as punishments are concerned. Even if they received any type of punishment like that, it probably didn't mean anything to them because, even if when you have kids who act like that and stuff like that, even trying to teach them a lesson, sometimes it doesn't do anything.
It doesn't,
It just
and
won't function.
yeah, at that point, it's their personality, not on the parents, and that's why I don't. I try really hard not to judge parents. They do the
Yeah,
best they can, most of them.
yeah, it just doesn't. It's you could punish them and give them the worst punishments ever. It's still, unfortunately, in this day and age, especially with what kids are exposed to nowadays, it's just the urges. It's like the urges of wanting to cause trouble remain.
We all have that urge once in a while. I do
Yeah,
too.
I
But
know it's not my responsibility, Josh, but it really bothered me at the time that this happened.
in the meantime, um, there's some messages there that we need to read, and we're way past time, guys.
Yeah,
But we also got started way past time too.
So next
yeah.
week,
So we kind of made up for
let's
it.
continue with the strange places.
Yeah,
Next,
because I'll have another place I'd like to share out as far as strange places are concerned, but that's gonna wait till next time. Yeah, so do I, Josh. I feel bad for kids in 2025 in this day and age. I mean, just imagine the craziness now.
They felt bad for us.
in 2025, not just kids.
Oh yeah, no, I don't mean just. I mean, I kind of feel bad for everybody. It's not just kids. No.
Yeah.
That's why I always say that with the era I grew up with, kids and even adults in this day and age will never understand with what we grew up with because in spite what I went through in
Now there.
school, I still had my great moments growing up.
Sure. And these kids will too.
I hope so. But either way, it's just never going to be the same.
Yeah.
It never is.
All right.
So I will keep this magazine here with me at the computer for next week. There's some really. I bought this thing a year and a half ago, and just went through it a couple of days ago. I've been trying to get caught up on. I've got 2 stacks of magazines to go through.
And I've got some to go over for the rest of the world. So.
And I still, Jeremy, I'm just going to throw, I know I sent pictures of this to you a few days ago. I've still been reading that new book I got, Nightmare Before Christmas, Long Live the Pumpkin Queen. It's really good. There's like some twists and stuff that I never even expected. I'm going to have to tell you about it another time. But yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's like, it's really, and I understood with what you said, like, you're right about this. Like, if they wanted to, they could have made a television series out of this.
Yeah, just like they could make a television series out of featuring each ghost on 13 Ghosts.
That's correct. Yeah. I mean, and I will say near the end of the book, it doesn't just end there. It even says the end. So that means that another book will probably be made. So it's going to continue. It's going to continue. What's that?
Not necessarily.
Well, you never know. They did kind of leave it on a cliffhanger.
Sometimes the best stories end on a cliffhanger, even if there is no follow through.
Yeah, I guess. But either way, it's a great book. Definitely would recommend it too. It was a lot more better than I expected it was going to be.
Yeah. So, okay, next week we will continue on weird places on Earth, because we all know there's plenty of them.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I will have 13th Dimension on. I will be interviewing John Griffin II from UNI Research.
Oh, awesome.
Gonna get. It's been a while since I've had him on, but I'm gonna get caught up with him and talk about this Paraclue thing that he's got going on. But until then, well, we're just gonna have to wait and see next week.
Yeah, I guess you guys have a great night, and especially, I think for most of us here, definitely stay warm because it is freezing as hell outside. I'm sure it is for you guys too.
I wouldn't know. My ass ain't going out there.
Well, thankfully, I'm off work tomorrow, so I don't have to worry about going out tomorrow.
It's 4 degrees right now.
It's what?
4.
4 degrees over here.
I'm saying right now.
It's 22 here.
Yeah, 4. If it's
18, but now it's 4.
If it's
That's
4
22
degrees
here, I'm good.
If it's 4 degrees over here, then that means
you may have it colder because of the lake.
Actually, it's the same exact temperature. It's 4 degrees over here.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, we got the same. Although it says feels like -2. So
y'all keep that shit. I don't care.
Yep.
Nope.
Bottom line is whatever's occurring in your whatever temperatures affecting your area right now, Jeremy. Yep, it's happening over here too.
This is the weird thing about the weather right now, because we usually don't get these temperatures until January and February.
Yeah, I said that to my mom earlier today. So, have you noticed how strange it is that it just dropped once we entered December?
Yeah, it did.
It's December, guys. It's supposed to.
Yeah, I know. But it's been several years since it's done that routine.
Yeah. Last year, we ended up with 5 days of snow total. We've already had 5 days of snow.
And more to come.
And more to come, yeah.
Y'all keep that.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I mean, that's perfect for the upcoming holiday Christmas season. Although I do sometimes ask myself, why do I get the singing feeling we're getting all this winter weather now? And then when Christmas arrives, temperature's going to rise up and we're going to lose all the snow.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Makes it better for traveling.
Yeah, I guess. I just like to have some snow for Christmas Day.
All I care about is Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, snow. It can be summer the rest of the year. All right, folks. we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much for playing along with us. Stay tuned tomorrow night at 7 Eastern is when 13th Dimension and Beyond. I am reclaiming the old time from way back when. Because I want to be off the show by 8 o'clock so I can watch WWE SmackDown.
There you go.
Yeah. Wrestling for life.
Yes.
All right, but until then, have a good weekend. Be safe out there and definitely stay warm because it is ugly out there.
Yes, it is.
All right.
Good night, y'all.
Good night, guys.